down the basement, lock the cellar door, and baby, talk bloody to me.
Hi, and welcome to another exciting edition of Talk Bloody to Me. I'm Matt,
And I'm Brizzy.
and tonight we're doing something we've never done before. We are talking about Pet Cemetery. There's Cujo's puppy is showing up on the screen. For those of you listening, Breezy has a skeleton dog with a bone. It kind of looks like a cat. I thought it was a cat at first with Pet
No,
Cemetery, but
actually, yeah, it's a dog.
it is a dog. It has pointy ears like a cat,
His
but
bone moves.
the, it's always good when the bone moves, if you know
But
what I
yes,
mean.
I got, this is Cujo's little puppy, and I got the big Cujo on the other side, but he's too big for the screen, so I got the little baby.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice that he could join us for Pet. Tonight we're talking about Pet Cemetery, and we're doing something we've never done before. We're talking about both the original 1989 version and then the remake, the 2019 uh, version. And this was something we talked about doing way back on our second episode with My Bloody Valentine. We were going to do the old school and then the remake, and then we decided that we were too new and didn't know what the hell we were doing. We better just stick with one movie at a time.
Well,
But
we know
now,
what we're doing, but we just haven't really got there yet.
that's right. Exactly.
Trying to get Cujo, but I guess I gotta hold him
There you go.
or something. But yeah,
So,
we're doing Pet Cemetery 1989 and Pet Cemetery 2019, and we're going to compare the two.
hmm So do you want to talk about like the old one first and then the new one, or do you want to talk about them kind of like both at the same time, or this is unprecedented?
I want to probably just talk about Pet Cemetery, just that one, and then their remake, which is pre-sequel because I looked it up. It's
Okay.
pre-sequel, not the remake. I thought it was a remake.
I thought it was a remake too.
Yeah, and then we would combine the two at the end.
Okay, sounds good. Now we got a game plan. So
Yep.
Pet Cemetery 1989, based on the Stephen King book. Um, I don't know, remember when the book came out. Did you read the book Pet Cemetery?
No, I thought didn't you though?
I did, yeah. And the movie is very close to the book, the first one especially. Um, but this stars a bunch of people I've never heard of, and one guy I have heard of named Fred Gwynn, who plays Judd
Yep.
Clampett, and he is also known as Herman Munster from the Munsters.
Yeah, I actually like God, he looks so familiar. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, yeah, he was the Frankenstein out from the
Yup.
Munsters, whatever it's called.
Yup. And he's like a really cool, like that's a good job of casting because he's kind of supposed to be sort of like redneck but yet nice and friendly but a little bit weird, and he just kind of fits all those boxes because he just has this big Frankenstein looking face, and he's all nice and jolly but kind of weird looking. And but so Pet Cemetery is the story of the family, the doctor and his wife and his daughter and his baby and their cat, Winston Churchill, aka Church, and they move to the country to get away from the big city. They're going to start over. And unfortunately, they picked the house that has the busiest fucking road in the world,
Oh, I
apparently.
know, right? That this it's not so much they don't show the cars, they only show like that gas station truck.
Yeah, those trucks come barreling down the highway like a million miles an hour.
Yeah, and what okay, so when did you first see this movie?
I was like junior high, I think. I think it was at someone's house. They had it on like VCR, and I saw it like at a party or something.
Yeah, I've seen it on when it was on tape and I was a kid. And I'm like somebody's gonna get killed off of this truck.
Yeah, exactly. Like from the first moment you see it, it's like
Yeah.
whoa, holy crap! Look out for that thing, Jesus.
Yeah.
And so it's like whoa, they're the trucks. Watch out! And then they're like. they're exploring the property and they find the pet cemetery, which is where all the local people have buried their pets. And it's like Biffer, he was a hell of a sniffer, and some other crazy crap.
And goldfish.
Yep, and there's a goldfish, and so he like our friend Judd shows him, and then like he's like, "This is where the dead speak," and then the little girl's like, "What?" And he's like, "No, not for real. I mean, their tombstones speak or whatever." And and then there's like a big pile of dead branches and stuff, and it's like all creepy and weird, and it's like, yeah, just pay don't pay any attention to that. Don't worry about it.
Kind of like, well, it's like not in rows, it's in a circle. So it's like some type of witchcraft.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like bada boom, guy gets hit by a truck and his brain is showing and his head's cracked open. It's like the next day and
Victor.
yeah, Victor Pascal. And so he's a doctor, so he tries his best to save him, but he like basically it's over before he's even in the door because he's so mangled.
Mhm.
And then he gets the ghost of Victor visits him and says,
But he's like the nice ghost. He's like he tries to stop him not to do this certain things like, bring in church to the cemetery and,
mm-hmm,
Gage.
mm-hmm. Exactly. He's like basically, he's like this pet cemetery is like Pringles because once you pop, you won't stop, and
Yeah.
so just don't even start because nothing good's gonna happen. And he's like, I have no clue what you're even talking about. You're weird. You're a ghost. Leave me alone. And then he gets home and oh, son of a bitch, church is dead. And then Judd's like, hey, I got an idea. Let's go plant them in the old pet cemetery beyond the pet cemetery in the Indian burial ground. And so they go on their trip and it's really cool like how they show like how they walk to it. It's just like all the weird things they go through. It just looks like
Hmm.
a really long, weird walk. It's kind of cool actually.
With all the fog and stuff,
Hmm.
oh man, that's a vibe right there.
Yeah. And then when they finally get to it and they kind of show it from overhead and it's all like the circles and lines and it's all like witchcraft looking and like
Mhm.
mystical and stuff. And like one time they show it later, or it's like after there's like the cleaning lady or whatever, she like hangs herself, and then they show the burial ground, and but there's like a shimmer, like a ripple almost to it, like it's just
Yep.
like generating evil, like it's really kind of
Yeah, I
cool.
could never figure that out why she did that.
Because I think it's meant to be that the pet cemetery or the cemetery, the burial ground, is just like so evil that it's like forcing people to do crazy things, basically.
Oh,
Just all
yeah.
the
Yeah,
ghosts
I
and
guess
the supernatural bull crap.
yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. So they bury Church in the cemetery, and then he comes back, but he's like demon possessed, evil cat. And then it's like he's like, "Hey, has anyone ever buried a person in there?" He's like, "No, why would you? Don't ever do it." And then the next day, we're flying a kite, we're having a nice picnic, and Gage goes running out in the road after the kite. And
Mm,
don't let the baby get in the road. Oh, jeez. It's a disaster. They do a really good job of like not showing it, but showing like they show his little shoe, and you just get like enough of a impression of it that it's like, oh my gosh.
yep.
And it,
When
oh,
when I first seen that didn't when I was a kid, that scene didn't really bother me. But ever
uh-huh.
since when I had a kid, I just cannot watch that.
Oh, I bet.
Maybe it's like a mom type of view. I don't know. It's like I just can't
Yeah,
I can't do it.
I can understand that. Um, and it doesn't help that they like picked the most adorable little kid in the whole world. Like, I think this kid's in kindergarten cop too, but this little cherub looking boy. But anyway, um, so Gage gets killed, and then they like have a big brawl breaks out at his funeral between his like the his wife's dad, and it's just a big messy scene.
Hmm.
So they leave to go smooth things over, and he's left alone. And so you know what we should do is go bury Gage in the old cemetery, bring him back.
What
It's
so we rewind for a little bit.
yep.
So like when they were like burying like Gage, not burying Gage,
Uh-huh.
um, at that cemetery, the minister is Stephen King.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's awesome. I noticed
Yeah.
that too. Nice cameo appearance by Stephen King, the man himself, as the priest performing the
Mm.
funeral
Yep.
for Gage. Um, so anyway, Judd totally knows that he's going to try and bury Gage in the cemetery. He's going to try and stop him, but he ends up passing out. And so he goes through with it, buries him in the pet cemetery, and then Gage comes back and he chops the shit out of Judd, slices his
Yeah,
Achilles
you
tendon.
take he takes one of those surgical like knives because
Yeah,
his dad is a doctor,
yeah.
and like just like right on like the ankle bone with the forgot the name of it.
The Achilles tendon, I
Yeah,
think
the
it's called.
tendon. Just right.
Yeah. Just because he's like looking for him. He's like, "Are you in here?" And then the cat goes, "Meow," and he's like, "What are you doing there?" And he turns around and Gage comes out from under the bed and just saws it like, and it goes deep, like an inch down too.
Yeah.
And then
And
he's
I
like,
love his
eh.
laugh too. Like
Yeah,
sort of a laugh.
yep. And then he slices him in the face and gives him the old Joker mouth with the old slash, and then myrtleizes him good.
And then he bites him right in the throat too, like pretty much choke him or bite choke or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like a wild animal, basically.
Hmm.
Yep. And so then, um, the mom comes home because the daughter had a horrible dream, nightmare that everything was going to hell, which it was. So she comes home and then she ends up getting killed. And then the dad like gets gauged with the syringe and knocks him out, kills him. And
Well,
then,
he takes his friends to church
oh
first,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
and then he goes in Judd's um home,
Yeah.
and then he ends up doing take the needle to his neck. He goes, "Not fair,
Oh yeah, that's
not
right.
fair." I was like, "Oh, now that's cute.
Yeah.
I like that."
Yeah. And so then he's gonna bury his wife, and the ghost of Pascal that's been warning him this whole time is like, "Don't do it, you idiot." And he's like, "No, I waited too long with Gage. This time it's gonna work for sure, for real this time." And then it ends, she walks in and she's a big gory mess and she goes, "Darling," and he's like, "Ugh," and then they start making out like bleh, and like it's all bloody and pussy and
Mhm.
and then
And
the Ramones come
and
on.
don't forget about Rachel's sister Zelda.
Oh yeah, there's that whole plot line. You tell us about that.
Well, so she had like an older sister named Zelda,
Hmm.
and her spine was all twisted and all fucked up. So
Hmm.
like her parents, is if I understand that they had Rachel to take care of her, and she didn't want to because her spine was all fucked up and screwed up. She
Yep.
looked like a skeleton, so pretty much she was getting skinnier and skinnier and skinnier.
Yeah.
And she just doesn't want to feed her, and et cetera, et cetera. And then all of a sudden she died, and then her parents thought she killed her, which was the case. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's and then they show her too, and it's all like makeup is done really well. And it's like the spine. You see like the spinal cord all twisted underneath the skin. It's all looks like a gross monster, and it's just supposed to be a person with like a spinal disease thing.
Yep.
Yeah, and then that's a whole plot line too. And then the cleaning lady murders like hangs herself out of nowhere. That's a thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Pet Cemetery,
They were 1989.
1989.
So before we go on to this, what would you rate this one?
Okay. I would rate this 7 out of 10.
What?
Yeah.
It's a classic.
Okay, 8 out of 10. You talked me into 8. It's really good. It has that good 80s vibe. It has it some of the acting is a little meh, but it's 80s-y.
Well, it's
It's
like
good. It's
1889, so
right, yeah. It's passable but for 80 standards.
uh
But yeah, I'll give it 8 out of 10. How about
I'll
you?
gi- I'll give it about a 9 out of 10
There
because
you go. Yeah.
I haven't read the book though.
Yep. The book is, from what I remember, the book is very similar to the movie. And the one thing that I really remember in the book is when he goes to bury Gage and he's on his walk through the to the pet cemetery, and it talks about how he sees this giant face appear in front of him and it like yells at him. And I'm like, I wonder if they're gonna do that in the movie, because if they do, what's that even gonna look like? And then all of a sudden it's like this thing comes out, and I'm like, oh well, the shit, there it is. They did it. It's really kind of weird, kind of goofy
Yeah,
too. But yeah, that was straight from the book. So yeah, pretty similar. I can't think of much differences. But then now, fast forward 30 years, and we get
to Pet Cemetery 2019.
to Pet Cemetery 2019, which is the follows starts off the exact same story, like scene for scene, almost the exact same thing. You got a guy getting hit, you got brains showing, you got Ellie, you got Gage, you got the doctor, you got Judd. This time though, you couldn't get Herman Munster. Who are you gonna get? That's an iconic, epic, weirdo actor.
Yeah,
Why,
you
John
got John
Lithgow?
Lithgow. He did play a really good role with that.
hmm
I did like that.
he's definitely a highlight of this movie is John
Hmm.
Lithgow, and they put a lot of makeup on him, so he looks all crusty and weird, like he's been out in the sun for 30 years. And but yeah, John Lithgow, who you might know from Third Rock from the Sun, or he was on Dexter too, wasn't he?
Yep, and he
Yeah.
was Henry and the Hendersons.
Oh, yep, Harry and the Hendersons. He was
Yep.
Dick on Third Rock, Third Rock from the Sun.
God, I missed that show.
Yeah, me
But
too.
yeah, the Pet Cemetery 2019, it's a lot similar, but a lot different. They did put a little twist on it
Yep.
in certain parts.
There's the first big difference is when they talk about her sister. In the original, it's kind of like she was left alone to take care of her, and it just sort of happened that the sister died while she was home alone with her, and the parents accused her of killing her or thought she had killed her. In the remake version, they have a dumb waiter. It's one of those things that goes up and down in the
Mhm.
wall,
Yep.
and she wasn't supposed to use it, but she didn't want to go up to see her sister and look at her because she was gross, so she did the dumbwaiter, and the sister tried to get the food and fell down the thing and like smash. And that's what, so in this one she actually did kind of kill her sister by accident, but it was also her fault that the sister got killed.
In
So it's
all
a
real,
little bit of a difference.
well, in all reality, if your spine is that twisted, like in the original, you will not get out of bed.
Right, exactly. You'd be like, "Hey, F you. Bring
Yeah.
me the shit. I don't care if it's in the box. I can't get to it." So,
No, like Victor on this one,
hmm
like the whole like when he comes in the hospital, that scene, there's
hmm
less there's less brains and blood on his skull versus the one
Yeah.
in the original.
Yeah. In the original, it's like a whole piece of his skull is missing, and you can see like bloody brain. On this one, it's more like just there's little holes, and you get just kind of almost like little peaks of it. But I think this one is grosser. This one almost turned my stomach a little bit. I was like,
That's what you told me.
yeah. I was starting to get nauseous over here. This one, maybe the first one didn't bother me, but this one did. Huh, go figure. But
You know
so
what? Maybe
sometimes
they
less
upped
is
the
more.
FX.
What's that?
Maybe they upped the FX a little bit more because it's 2019.
That could be. Um, but the biggest change happens when Church he brings Church out to the woods, and Church is coming down the road, and Ellie and Church or Gage go out to get, it's not, instead of chasing after the kite, they're going out in the road to look at Church. And here comes the semi, and it's gonna hit Gage, and it's Pet Cemetery. We all know it's coming. Semi's gonna get hit Gage. Everyone knows it. We all seen it, and all of a sudden, whoop, pulls Gage out of the way. What the hell? And then the truck like rolls and the trailer goes sliding, and it's like, what the hell? And then wham,
Yeah,
Ellie gets killed.
because Church died, and they brought Church died at the middle of the road. That's similar to the original.
Yeah.
And then he came to life, back to life, and then instead of flying the kite with Gage in the original one, 2019, it was at Ellie's birthday party.
Yep. Yep. And Church was coming down the road after he dropped him off in the woods, and she saw him and was like, Church. But
Because he ran away a
yeah,
few times and then she was looking for him and then here comes the semi, took her out.
those damn semis, they just
Yeah,
nonstop.
that one really put a twist to it.
Mm-hmm.
When I first seen this,
Yeah.
I was like, well, this is a different vibe. If I really put it like I can understand you need a little difference because of it's a pre-sequel,
Mm-hmm.
but no offense, I kind of like Gauge a little bit better. Even though
Yeah.
that it bugs me, I
Right.
just like the whole no.
Right.
There's only one scene in this movie. Like I told you, I'm like, I don't really care for this movie, but there's only one scene that I fucking love.
What scene is that?
When they drop Church off, when he's sitting on that row, when he backs up,
Uh-huh.
it's like it's how Church looks with all that wet and it's just beautiful cat
Yup.
too. Just sitting there, just like on the road, just glaring
Yeah,
like
just
that.
look of absolute death. Like I am going
Yep.
to find you and murder you.
Yeah, and so when he backs off, it's like how the camera goes from church and goes so I'm like, oh, I love this.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that's the only scene I really love.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so then you enter the Pet Cemetery multiverse where now it's Ellie gets dead and buried and comes back and she's dancing ballet and smashing stuff because she's out of control and she still ends up killing Judd and
Mhm.
but this one the ending is a little different. This one they kind of all end up in the cemetery and the mom gets killed, and then he's gonna kill her, and then he's like, "I we just wanted to be a family," and she's like, "We still can be a family," and all of a sudden, here the mom's back from the dead, and then they kill him, and then the last thing you see is poor little Gage sitting in the car all by himself, and here comes zombie-looking mom, dad, and Ellie. Slowly walking towards the car, and all of a sudden, zombie Church jumps up on the hood of the car, and then you hear the key go bloop bloop as it unlocks the door, and that's how
Mhm.
it ends. No
I
Ramones
didn't
this time.
I didn't really I hated that ending.
Me
The only
too.
reason, the only reason why I hated that ending is like, okay, well, you might as well do like maybe 10 more minutes left of the movie and see the family kill Gage
Well, they
and
want to
then
leave it to your imagination,
well, right. But you want to see them killing Gage.
right? Exactly. Don't just imply it. Show it to
I
us for
I
God's
do,
sake.
however, I do like when Ellie wakes up, the
Hmm.
like the makeup, like after the fact, she's like
Oh yeah, yeah. When
mm,
he's
the
like
veins.
trying to like coat brush her hair, and there's like just the gobs of crap, and he's like, it's like that's that's gross but cool.
Well, they do the same thing with church too.
Yep, exactly. And the ground is sour.
What would you rate this one?
This one, I honestly would rate it a 3. And mainly I'm giving it a lot of points just because they decided to give it a twist and go a little different direction, change it up a little bit. And so I give him points for creativity. I really did not like the main actor at all. I didn't like anything about him,
Mm.
and I didn't like much of anything else about this movie, to be honest with you. John Lithgow, I give it 1 point for John Lithgow and 1 point for being creative and 1 point just for Stephen King, so 3.
Yep. I'll give it a 4. I like Church way more in this one because he looks really, really good.
I will
But
give
I
it
still,
that.
yep, but I do like Church on the other one because on the 1989 version, like, yeah, he doesn't look as graphic as the newer Church, but the old Church, you have that glowing eyes.
Yeah. in the 1989 version, he basically looks a lot like his old self, just that he always has crazy green glowing eyes.
Mm,
Whereas this one looks more like a zombie cat that's like all like still you can see like scars and like it's all matted fur and crap, but it doesn't have the cool green eyes.
yep.
Yeah. So that's Pet Cemetery, and then there's Pet Cemetery Bloodlines. I don't know
Yep.
what that is, but we didn't watch
That
that.
that one is um it's pretty much where Pet Sematary all came about, but it's more so on Judd's story.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's a it's a good one. I actually really did enjoy that one.
Okay.
So
So
we might do that someday. But
we we I know we have a few fan requests in the works.
oh yeah.
So we're gonna be busy little bees here coming
Hmm.
up. Speaking of bees, we should do Candyman one of these days.
Oh yeah. You might compare the two.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen both.
I've only seen the original, but I saw it in the theater.
Okay. I do like the original over the newer one, but I
All
forgot how it went. I don't know. I gotta rewatch it again.
right.
But yeah,
Well,
Pet Sematary.
Pet Cemetery. Anyway, thanks for listening. Please follow, like, share, subscribe, follow on your favorite platform. Tell your friends. Go to our website, talkbladeofme.com. We'll be adding some new pictures soon.
Yeah, because we
And
had a photo shoot. We had a photo shoot.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. And thank you so much for listening.
And Kucha says bye bye.